Hello, authors, book lovers, and storytellers. Welcome to another Reader's Magnet featured author interview. My name is Mark, and I am your host for today. And together with me is one of the Reader's Magnet featured authors here to talk more about his journey as an author and his book. Everyone, please help me welcome Stephen Lloyd Slender. Hi, Stephen. How are you today?
I'm fine. You?
I'm great as well. Thank you for asking. Anyway, I just want to say thank you for attending our interview today, and we are so happy to have you here. And personally, I just can't wait to have this interview with you because I just can't wait to talk about your book and your journey as an author, and more learn more about the reason behind writing your book. But before all of those, Stephen, can you please introduce yourself to our audience right now?
Hi, I'm Stephen
Just a,
Lloyd Auslender. For the last
is there anything
uh,
else?
55, 60 years, I've been a sculptor.
Wow.
And, um, and then I decided to start writing because I had the urge to write stories. So I started writing
Mhm.
stories. And I couldn't make a living as a sculptor. But so I taught in university, taught mathematics, and I taught, the heck else I teach? Computer drafting. And that was a good job. I liked teaching. I liked rewriting the textbooks, some of them are useless, in such a way that the students can follow the instructions. And I tell them what button to press and what it's going to look like when it comes up. So it's easy for them to learn the computer because I'm not, most books I find, technical books, are written by people who really know the subject and they can't get down to the level of the beginner. And so that was one of my pet peeves. So I just would rewrite the books.
Mhm.
That worked out nice. And then I kind of enjoyed doing that. And then for some reason, about 6, 8 years ago, I decided I feel like writing um,
Mhm.
books now. So I started writing. So this is my first book, The Streamline Locomotive. And I had a lot of fun doing it, enjoyed it.
Mhm.
Now I'm working on other books. It's one of a series of 4 books, and I'm still working on them. We'll
All
see what.
right. Wow.
But this is the
Will
first.
it be connected still with your current book right now, The Streamlined Locomotive?
The characters will be the same.
All
I'm
right. Mhm.
introducing new characters, but um, the Streamline Locomotive takes the time is like 1940 to 1942, where that's the beginning of the where the United States gets involved in World War II.
All
The
right.
second book is a really prequel. It starts in 1908, and I'm not going to talk about that because I haven't finished it yet. But
Okay.
this one, it starts. Well, we have a family, and it's sort of a clan, and it's run by what do you call that kind of guy? A robber baron, an old-fashioned robber baron, and he owns a railroad, Chicago Pacific and Eastern, that runs all the way across the country.
Okay.
And essentially, the family owns a county in
Okay. So
Appalachia.
this is the Streamlined Locomotive, right?
Yeah, and
Okay.
what
Huh.
happened? That's what I'm talking. I'm not going to talk anymore about other books.
Mm-hmm.
So what happens with this is we have the character Theo, that's short for Theopolis.
Theopolis, right?
Yeah, and he's sort of spoiled. He doesn't want to work hard. He just doesn't like working hard.
Yeah. Sometimes we really
He-
have
he-
that feeling, right?
he's
Get
wealthy,
tired. Uh
and
huh.
he enjoys he likes enjoying himself, and he has a wife. Um,
Children,
and, oh yeah, they got some kids, and he's got some girlfriends, and
friends, right?
she has some boyfriends, and
Oh.
they're rather liberal minded, and they don't mind each
Yeah.
other having friends. What the hell? Why not? Because they she seduced him when they were 12, and he liked it, so he stuck around. And now they're getting older. I think they must be about 30 now, and what happens is he doesn't like doing any kind of effort. So now there's two main characters of the family. That's Throckmorton P. Bezelbottom, who's the robber baron, and
Mm-hmm.
his brother Aloysius P. Bezelbottom. And he's got a driving personality. He's not the kind of guy who really goes out and pushes and shoves and takes over things like Throckmorton. So he's not the head of the family. So what the family did is they made him the head of the county they own. Well, they don't own it; it's just they run it and essentially own it. And in the county, at the northern part of the county, you have the main maintenance facilities and construction facilities for the CP&E Railroad.
Mm-hmm.
And then in the southern part of the county is called Hogwaller,
I
Hawwaller. And
actually saw that on your
yeah,
book synopsis. Mm-hmm.
and so what happens is in the southern part of the state, they have what we call the town. They have the one main town in the county. And the town is called Hogwaller, but it's called Hogwaller Town. And they have uh, the main population of the county itself are hill people. Uh, you know, now everybody kept calling them hillbillies. I don't like that term. I just rather say they're hill people.
Okay.
If you want to get an idea of what they look like, because this is not an illustrated book, look up old copies of Al Cap's cartoons and
Okay.
Dog Patch, and he pretty well illustrated the characters that I'm thinking of, and it's a combination of all that. And so what
All right.
happens is they Aloysius, who runs the thing, they have a small railroad that runs from the north part of the uh, county down to the southern part, and it's a connector railroad. So trains would stop at the top part, drop off some cars. They would take these cars down to the southern part and connect. It's a feeder railroad, and it
Mm-hmm.
looks nice. And the only thing is, it's a third rate, ramshackle thing. And Aloysius gets the idea of grandeur. He wants them to get a streamlined locomotive, which
There you
is kind of
go.
absurd for a little bitty dippy railroad like that. So he tells Theo that he is he assigned Theo the task of getting him a streamlined locomotive. There's no money for it, but he still wants Theo to do it. And so the story is all about that and
Okay.
the interference of Throckmorton and his staff and their affairs and all sorts of other things. And it gets
Okay.
interesting.
Yeah.
I think it's
That's let me.
funny. Every time I read it, whenever I get down, I go back and read my book and it cheers me up no end.
Okay, that's amazing, Stephen, because actually you just answered my first question. So I
Okay.
was about to, I was about to ask about the title, the streamlined locomotive. So
Yeah.
I just want to say, yeah, about the reason why you called it that way. And there you go. You just said it yourself. So there is something about streamlined locomotive, machines, trains, and all of that. So the next, is there anything you want to
No,
say?
I'm just listening.
Okay, so I'm just curious to know what inspired you to write this book, Stephen?
I don't know. I'm a sculptor and I'm also a surrealist. All my artwork with sculpture is surrealism. And what happens is I don't logically plan what I'm going to do. All the
Yeah.
ideas, all the artwork I've ever made is it comes from the subconscious. And at no time do I try to let the conscious mind enter into it, except to make it so people could read it or see it. Or if I make sculpture, the sculpture will not fall apart. And in other words, the conscious mind, to me, the left brain, is the is like a contractor that builds something, and he's building it for the right brain, which where all the
Hmm.
images come from. And it's like you can't ask me what it means because everybody interprets art their own way.
Correct, correct, correct.
Okay,
I can agree with that. So,
so you just people should just read it and to be amused, to get
correct.
some laughs out of
Agree.
it.
Uh-huh. So, another question regarding that. Among all of the topics and genres of books, Stephen, why you chose to write this one? What is there any specific reason for this? No, just
It came
nothing.
out of me.
All right. Well,
I
you
mean,
know,
like
you know.
It started one day. I was thinking, and like about names, and I came up with Bezel Bottom. And I thought, now that's a rather pretentious family name. I like that, and that's where it
Actually.
started. I started with a name, and wrote an
Mm-hmm.
entire book, starting
Mm-hmm.
with Bezel Bottom, and that's how I did
Okay.
it. Let's see what I
Well,
could explain it.
and there you go.
Yeah,
Theopolis
I
is
wrote it.
born. All right. So, again, so back to the questions. What are the parts of the book did you have the hardest time writing? So, is there anything like
No,
events that you consider?
I didn't have any problems writing the book. There were no hard parts. If I got to a part where I was stuck, I'd go on to another part, or I just go do
Okay.
something else and let my
All
subconscious
right.
come up with something. It tells me. I don't tell it. It tells me what to
Okay.
do, and I do it. And I'm happy it's telling me, communicating with me.
Okay, that's great. So, what do you think is the important points of this book that you have now, the streamlined locomotive?
Well, essentially, you're witnessing is this spoiled, rather childish character, Theo, which is short for Theopolis,
Mm-hmm.
whatever that means. And he, he, he had no confidence, self confidence that he could do anything because he never had to do anything. So now they got
Uh-huh.
all this responsibility dropped on him. And if he fails, what'll happen is they'll push him out of his soft position and make him work, you know, do regular work. He'll lose his cushy position. He'll lose um, the money
His
he's got
wealth,
access, his
yeah,
wealth. He'll lose his wealth. He'll lose his houses. They made him give up his apartments in Chicago and New York City, and he'll probably lose his girlfriends. Well, they come and go.
sure,
Um,
for sure.
yeah, and keep his wife. That's nice because she knows which side of the bread is buttered, and they got kids, and they like each other, him and his wife. And what happens is they get together every now and then to make love once in a while, and then they go back to their old friends. Each have their own lovers, so they got a very relaxed relationship. And he's going to lose all that. And then what happens? The war coming up. If he doesn't come up with what they want him to do, they're going to make sure he gets drafted, and he'll go in not as an officer, but as a buck private. And they got enough pull. The family has enough pull to do that, and so he'll end up having to go into combat as a private, and that's one thing he doesn't want to do because
Okay.
life is easy and nice. He doesn't want to have to get hurt or anything like that.
Hmm.
And I had all sorts of fun bringing in characters. One thing I have is a country in the Balkans. You heard of Bulgaria? Well, this one is
Um,
called Bulgaria, and
okay.
they send their uh, they send their group of people to represent them to the United States, and the president of the United States uh, knows what they're like, so he shunts them off to Hogwaller, and he says, "You guys take care of them, you entertain them." And so then we get all sorts of weird things happening down there with them. And there's a love interest because all of a sudden, with all these beautiful women he's had all these years, gorgeous women, they're slender and they're sexy, he ends up falling head over heels in love with Zelda. She's the security officer for
Okay.
the delegation. Wherever she goes, she's carrying a large Mauser pistol from World War I, broom handle type, and she carries a few grenades too. And her body is like, ever see in the Olympics the Russian wrestlers or the Russian female weightlifters? They're all muscle, 250 to 275 pounds of pure muscle. They're not
Ooh,
slender little sexy girls. And he
wow,
absolutely
strong.
falls in love with her, and she falls in love with him. She
Okay.
says he's her
S-
darling lover, and
So
you know,
basically,
that
this
it goes on like that, and that it gets a little complicated.
okay. So this also has a romance
Yeah, if you want to
story.
call it a romance, but
All right. So
she
amazing.
dominates it.
Yeah.
She grabs him
Oh,
and takes him off to the bed.
wow.
Well, she's stronger than he is, you know.
Dominant woman, right? So
Yeah,
so anyway, Stephen, thank you for those for sharing those, okay? And I'm sure our audience right now are, so curious to know more about it, and are maybe thinking of buying your book, and for sure they will. So anyway, Stephen, what do you want your readers to take away after reading this book? So is there anything like a
yeah.
value?
It's the same kind of thing that when you see a really good, funny movie, and when you
Mm-hmm.
leave the movie, uh, you have a light feeling about you. You feel,
So
oh,
the
that
story
was
teaches
funny,
about
and
something.
it sort of buoys you up, and you smile. I don't know how to describe the feeling. I don't. It's just when you see something
Okay.
that's pleasing and it's funny and it's humorous and you enjoyed it. And so, but that's the only feeling I could imagine that person would have. It's, every time I read it, I start laughing and giggling, and I wrote the damn thing, and I still am surprised by what I wrote. It still tickles me. So
Okay, so maybe we can consider it also as something eh, like a rom-com.
what's that?
Rom it's a romantic comedy type of setting.
I don't know if we would call uh, Zelda and uh, Theo's relationship
Theo.
romantic.
Okay. All right. So, all
Not in
right.
the way
I
that
get it.
we have romance. We imagine romance in this country. You know, in the literature we have it, the romance and it's all flowers and doves and love, and that doesn't quite fit with Zelda.
Okay. Okay.
Zelda and Theo.
So that is something that our readers might look forward to in knowing more about her girlfriend, his girlfriend. Okay. So I'm sure they are curious to know more about it. So anyway, what will you say to people who would like to read your book, Stephen?
Two
Like
words.
encourage.
Two words.
Sure.
Buy it.
Of course. I mean, I
That's
know.
it.
I'm sure
I,
they are
I,
so
I,
excited to know more about it.
I only know of one library that has a copy that you could borrow for free, and
Hmm.
that's in my town, Wilton, Connecticut, because I donated it to them. And
Okay.
but otherwise, you're gonna have to go buy it. And
Mm-hmm.
it's
Okay.
available. It's available as an ebook, and it's available as a printed paperback. And we're currently working on um, setting where they have where somebody reads the book to you while you, because if you're a lot of
Oh,
people
like
don't have the time to sit and read. Or
correct.
if they
Like
come
an
home from work,
audiobook.
it's an audio book. That's what it's called.
All right. That's amazing. We're so
Newfangled terms
excited.
that I got to keep up with.
Uh,
It's an
okay. So we're
audio
so
book,
excited for
and so
that.
like if you're driving someplace or you got a job where you're
Correct.
driving, you could
I
turn it
know,
on.
right?
You could turn it on. Uh, turn the record, turn it on while you're and listen to it while you're driving, which is
Mm-hmm.
something I really like to do when I will drive long distances to have something like that on and listen to it. So that hasn't come out yet, but they're working on it.
Mm-hmm.
And
I'm sure.
I'm also working on a website for like
Yeah. What I know is Reader's Magnet is also prepping up for all of your social media accounts. And I can't wait to have you that platform already, because that would unlock more potential readers for you. And we are so excited for that. Okay.
yeah, sounds good to me.
Anyway, Now, for our last chance, Stephen, can you please maybe show your book and invite everyone to buy your book
Yeah,
on
I'm going to
all the
try
platforms
to.
that we have?
It's
Let's
difficult
try.
because for some reason
Just
um,
maybe
it,
lower
it's
below
focusing
like
on me,
this.
but not on the book. Oh, we got part
Yeah,
of it.
it's not working.
Up a
Oh,
little higher, a little higher, a little higher, a little
there you
higher.
go.
Getting up there. You can't see the
Okay.
bottom part. Okay, I'll turn it upside down. So this is what the bottom part
Okay.
looks like. And then you can put
All
them together
right.
and then you get a full copy of the book.
I know. That's so funny. Okay. So that's it, everyone. So that's Stephen's Lloyd Auslender, the author of the book, The Streamlined Locomotive. Book is available on Amazon and Barnes and Noble. Again, thank you so much, Stephen.
Thank
And
you.
yeah, we're so happy to have you here. As we say it here at Reader's Magnet, we share your stories with the world.
Thank you.
Bye. Thank you.